Good morning, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm pretty loud anyway, so as you can tell. First of all, my name is Daryl Sanderlin, GarbageGears. Essentially, it is a SaaS play. Make sure I get this thing to click here. He's making it happen right now. There we go. It's a SaaS play for the waste industry. When I say waste, I mean garbage, trash, that kind of stuff, how it works. That's me. I'm in partnership with an organization called Code the Dream out of Raleigh, Durham. It's a nonprofit that helps the underrepresented portions of the technology community join minorities, females, stuff like that. I've been partnered with them for about 2.5 years. I was actually their first kind of, I guess, foray into the commercial side to get that going forward. What was the problem and how did I know about the problem? I owned a garbage business for 6 years. When I'm not doing that, I'm a pilot at American Airlines, but don't hold that against me. But I owned a garbage business, and when I owned that garbage business, I noticed there was a couple of different problems that I had. One of those being e-commerce sales. You know, you want to order trash service at your house, you live out in the rural area. Very, very few, less than 5% of the providers have an online system where you can buy trash online, you know, get everything set up, that kind of stuff. Also, I learned that recurring billing, they usually bill on a quarterly basis. Most of them do old snail mail. So, of course, there's a lot of opportunity there to go, you know, kind of go to that model of a Stripe kind of model to handle your recurring billing. And then my other question was, how do I now know that my driver has gone to your house and serviced your can? How do I know that that happened? And that led me to kind of a service work order model, Android-based system to kind of handle that stuff. It is a SaaS model. I'm going after a small customer, small provider, 300 to maybe 15,000 customers, maybe 10,000 customers, somewhere in there going forward. I handle the e-commerce. I kind of shoot that to WordPress, WooCommerce, using GoDaddy to kind of help that hosting as well. Of course, the recurring billing is handled by Stripe. Everybody here, of course, most everybody in the tech world knows who Stripe is. They do a very good job of handling your recurring billing. No big deal there. Go back. I did create an Android-based application. Sorry for the iPhone people, but Android's much easier to develop as far as a developer goes, as well as the devices are much cheaper to have in the truck. If it falls and breaks, who cares? It's $100, go buy another one. Because drivers of garbage trucks tend to be very hard on equipment, in case you didn't know that. Last thing, customer communications. A lot of these trash providers, if anybody here has had those and you try to contact your trash provider, sometimes it's very difficult to get them on the phone or get them to answer an email or a text message. Most of them say text message, what is that, first of all? And so essentially just integrating all those different platforms to make that happen. It's a 3-tiered business model roughly. You got your basic plan, you can, silver, gold, platinum, whatever. Essentially, with each different platform, you get different features. You go to the highest revenue model, you pretty much get all the features. That would be the mobile technology, the integrated, some SaaS stuff, integration with QuickBooks, those kind of things going forward. How do I find my customers? Trash people are not the most digital savvy customers. So that requires me to like a lot of in-person touch. Those are in conventions, those are in trade magazines. There's several very large trade magazines that are mailed out to these trash providers on a monthly basis. And so old school print advertising. And then there's a little bit of digital media. I would say that myself or my compatriots haven't really figured out exactly how to, I guess get to these guys through the digital media, but we've been working on it quite a bit to determine that. And then word of mouth. My goal first is to launch. I've had a lot of people, kind of how I got here was I sold my trash business, and when I sold my trash business, all my friends that are still in the trash business came back to me and said, Daryl, I thought you were doing some software with your trash business. I said, well, I was, but I sold it, so I gave it up. They said, you're stupid, man. We would love to have your software. And that's kind of how, so I started it back up again. And so here I am, a year later. Right now, a lot of those gentlemen and ladies that are on those businesses are using spreadsheets, they're using QuickBooks, they're using all kinds of different things, printed paper, essentially to help manage their business going there. Some of them are frustrated with the models that are out there and the services that are out there and some other software. Most of the software seems like it maybe was written in the 20s or, when I say 20s, I mean 1920s. What I need, $120, 2 tranches, $60K and $60K, kind of gets me to the end of the year-ish, roughish, to kind of go forward from there. I've pretty much bootstrapped it to this point. I got 8 seconds left, so I got to make it fast. There's roughly some revenue targets, about a 70 customer break even on MMR. There's some projections. I got to get my screen higher. $1 million bucks, you said that wasn't interesting, so I guess I got to figure out another way to get more than $1 million. 700 customers. There's my competition. I've used one of those competitions when I was in the business, and I paid $1,500 a month for it, and it was not very good. So that's it. Exit. Website's live. I'm already on Google Play. There's the Android app. There we go.
So Daryl, again, hitting the 5 minutes is tough, and you were trying to jam.
I practiced several times, but I still didn't do it.
Yeah, you're trying to. It's what was it? Mark Twain was famously said, right? If I had more time, I would have written you a shorter letter. And so it really is hard to be concise. So one of the things that when you're communicating, and again, especially to an investor base, right, that's looking at this, is getting kind of that clarity, succinct messaging. And again, you're a SaaS play for garbage. That was good. I liked that was what I think you said. What I wrote down anyway about what you said. That was good. The coding the dream thing. While I liked that was good, but it was also a distraction in a 5-minute pitch, right? Because it took me, I didn't know, it was kind of a little bit of a left turn, and I wasn't sure where you were going with it, right? I liked your problem definition, right? Clearly, again, you've got the garbage collection business, you got big players, and you got a whole bunch of what I would call mom and pop players, right, that need a solution like this. So you did a good job of clarifying kind of there was a need for that. The one thing that you could have done up front, and again, very hard to do, you had it in your pitch, but apparently there are 9,800 of those small to mid-size providers, right? I would have gotten that, made that a little more prominent in terms of your pitch. And then I'm an economist by training, so then I like to do math, right? So, and you did a good job explaining your pricing, right? $89 up to $4.99 a month. And then the immediate thing is I'm doing kind of what's total size of market then based on that, right? And now I'm glad you didn't say total size of market and I'm going to get 10% or 20% or whatever, because you don't want to do that. You do want to lay out what the total size of the market is, but then figure out how did you get to your 2 million? What does it take to really ramp up? And then the other big question there, and you addressed it some, was customer acquisition costs, right? If you're going to trade shows, you're advertising in some of those trade magazines, what does that customer acquisition cost look like relative to your to the revenue that those customers are going to generate? And then I was the competition. You did get to it. It was late, so it was a little bit rushed. But around who are some of the other players, and again, how do you differentiate what you're doing? And then the last comment I'll make is, I would have led off with I own my own garbage business. When I did that, I built software, right? And that years of experience of doing that is why I'm doing this again. And maybe the simple way to explain that to an investor, again, sometimes you got to take the blunt instrument, being an investor over the head, is, hey, what AWS did, right? When Amazon created AWS and decided there was really an interesting market, I'm basically repeating that model, right?
Good point.
Yeah, Daryl, just a follow-up to that. So put the coding the dream slide at the end. Okay. And so open up, grab our attention, and I think it's exactly what Daniel said. So love the SaaS for waste collection. That puts it into our brain there. And then, describe exactly what the solution is. That first slide should really allow us to understand what your solution is, what problem you're solving for, and give us a feel for what you're doing. I think it's a really interesting niche. I'm still a little unsure on how big the market is. So you're not, obviously you're not going from municipalities. There's a different solution that Mecklenburg County uses, so this is more rural. But I believe, and I think this is what you said, that it's very underserved.
Very underserved.
And very manual. So Your relevant experience is great. You owned a garbage company. It's, you developed a piece of software. Did you redevelop the software so you completely own the IP now, I assume?
Yeah, I did everything from scratch.
Okay. So whatever you developed before was sold off.
It did not go as part of the transaction.
Okay,
It was
okay.
specifically excluded from the transaction of the sale.
Yeah. On the Android thing, does it matter? And so I'm assuming that your truck drivers are using an Android device,
Tablet, that's correct.
right? But whoever's back in the office or even your customers are probably using some type of web portal. So there is no dependency on an iOS device versus another device. Is that true?
Sort of true. I mean, the application, of course, runs on AWS. I'm helping making Bezos even billionaire more. But the Android application is mainly for in-cab GPS and service order orientation. So the driver, comes in the morning, logs in, knows that he has 300 stops or 200 stops. It has them all essentially geolocated, and he just pretty much follows the route through the day and clicks them off. As that happens, of course, it's synced to the server to let the office know that the transaction has happened, as well as in the premium plans, if a customer wanted, it would email or text message the customer and tell them they've been serviced, so they can go out and get their can. They don't have to let it sit by the road to know that it's already happened.
So as a customer, though, I can, if I'm sitting in my office.
Customer doesn't matter, you're right.
Yeah,
This is just
yeah,
for the
yeah.
company itself.
Okay, so don't say that. Just say that the application runs in the trucks on Android devices
Okay.
and leave it at that. Don't apologize about iOS. I would assume that everybody in this, or 70-80% of the people in this room are running an iOS device.
Right.
And so they're going, oh man, I can't be a customer. That's not the case.
Yes.
So don't apologize for it. Just say we run on Android in our trucks.
Okay.
What else do I have? Get on the IP. I think that's all I have. Do you have anything else, Daniel, before we go to the audience?
No.
All right, audience.
Any questions from the audience?
Go ahead.
Any questions? Is delinquency of payment a big deal?
Huge deal. And I did away with delinquency of payment. It was probably the worst. There's two things I hated about the business, besides the trash, but it smelled like money to me, was delinquency. And the old method of mailing a bill to your house, sometimes as a trash provider, you didn't discover delinquency until you've serviced them 30 to 60 days. So you've been going to their house for 2 months and they haven't paid you, and now you're trying to hunt them down for $40, and you don't know how hard it is to get somebody to pay you $40. It's amazing how hard that is. It's ridiculous. You're like, $40, but boy, it's difficult.
So my follow-up would be that, to me, that seems like the biggest pain point.
Yes.
And my follow-up would be,
That's a good point.
why wouldn't you try to figure out how to take a piece of the transaction? So it's gonna be way more than $4.99 a month, if it saves them that headache.
That's probably, you're probably correct. Essentially, I guess I modeled myself kind of after the ubiquity play of I'm going to disrupt the market with disruptive pricing. That's kind of what it was. I wasn't going to worry about the little nickel and dime you. I was just going to hit you for one amount of money, let the SaaS play go, and then just run with it. There's also some different verticals in there as well, portable toilets, a bunch of different verticals that do the same exact thing, but I wasn't even going, roll-offs, front-end loader, all those different verticals exist in that market, which is more than the 9,800. I'm just going after that small niche to start off with, make sure I can serve that small niche, get rid of the, chasing your money down scenario, and how I do that was, there's no work order created after their billable date, so as soon as you, whatever your bill to date is, it stops there. If the truck goes out the next day, there's no work order there to pick that trash can up, so their driver should, if they're trained properly, drive by it. And then that gets the phone call to happen, and then they pay their bill, or they go online and pay their bill.
Got time for one more from the audience. All right, thanks, Daryl.
Sure.